For years, you've come to me for help with saving money, but isn't there so much more than that? Our next guest says yes. Barbara Huson, welcome to the Sami Cone Show. I'm really excited to have you here to talk about your new book, Rewire for Wealth. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. You know, this is such a practical read. First of all, let me let me say that. But can you tell our viewers a little bit more about why this is such an important topic to you?
Because I spent the past 25 years as a financial therapist and wealth coach, empowering women financially. And about 6 years ago, I discovered neuroscience, the study of the brain. And I realized if I could incorporate neuroscience into my work around personal finance and with psychology, that I could expedite the learning curve and really speed up women's financial empowerment. And it's proved so powerful.
Yeah, we're going to get to your 3 steps that you talk about in this book in just a second, but can you speak a little bit more, because you've been in the money realm for years. I'll let people go to your site to learn more about your personal story and who your father was and all of that, but why do you think women typically are such under-earners?
Well, typically, women tend to give away their time, their knowledge, their skills for free or bargain prices because they don't believe they're worth more. Women tend to devalue ourselves. And not only that, we are notoriously codependent. We put everybody's needs before our own. But ask a woman to put herself first and really go for it, she'll start feeling guilty and scared and uncomfortable. And the #1 requirement to go to the next level in anything, but especially in earnings, is the willingness to be uncomfortable, the willingness to do what you think you can't or don't want to do.
Ouch, you are preaching to the choir right now, right? And that's really hard, especially during this time, you know, when we're filming, we're in the middle of this pandemic. People are really, I think, trying to keep this closed fist, right? Because it is a scarier time, especially financially than ever. What would you say is the first step to take if someone is going to be brave and rewire their brain? What is that first step they need to do?
Well, first of all, let me just, our brains have been wired from the beginning of time, millions and millions of years ago, for one purpose only, and that is survival and safety. And so you put us in the middle of a pandemic when our very survival is threatened, and we are going to absolutely go into self-protection, safety, and our fear center will be activated. So the key is to get out of that fear and to go into action. And that's where the brain comes into play. And so the key to going into action and on our fear is in training our mind to rewire our brain. And there's 3 steps to do that. So let me just tell you the 3 steps very quickly, and then we can talk about them in a little more detail.
Please do.
The 3 steps are recognize, reframe, and respond differently. So whenever you're having a negative, fearful, or unhealthy thought, like I'm not enough, or I can't handle this, or there's never enough, notice those. The first step is recognize that you are having a fearful thought, that you recognize your thought with curiosity and not criticism or judgment. Isn't that interesting? I'm having a thought about not having enough. And so you separate yourself from the thought. The second step is to reframe it. How can you see it differently? There's always another way to interpret something, always another way to look at it. And instead of there's never enough, you could reframe it, there'll be enough, many ways, or I know there'll be enough. And then from that place of, and you don't have to believe the reframe, because you won't at first. You repeat it enough times, it will etch itself into your brain, and then you responding differently over and over. You keep doing what you don't want to do, what is scary to do, what you need to do. And you do those 3, recognize, reframe, and respond differently over and over again. And sooner before you know it, it's going to be easier and easier and easier to get the better results.
I'm so glad you're talking about this. I have teenagers, and just that power of your mind is so important to reinforce from a young age especially, but I don't think it's ever too late for us to learn that lesson. We do have a lot of women that are watching, a lot of busy women. Where would you tell them is, you know, for a woman that really feels like she has time for nothing else, to start in terms of increasing her earning potential after she's taken those 3 R's into effect?
What you do is you take those, you recognize, reframe, and respond differently. And what happens is your brain, you will automatically start seeing things you didn't see before, because what you're doing is changing your beliefs about you or about the world or about money. And because the brain will only see, will only do, will only act on what confirms its beliefs. So when you start shifting your beliefs, your brain will start seeing all kinds of new possibilities.
That's great. Yeah, you have so many practical tips in your book, and it's really almost like a workbook within the book itself. There's so many really prompts that you give for women to not only assess where they are currently, but to think about what they're doing, where they want to be, and where they want to go. Can you tell people where to find more about your principles and the book?
Sure, you can go to my website, Barbara-Huson, Huson.com. Barbara-Huson.com.
That's great. Barbara, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope that you go check out more of Barbara's tips to find out how you can really rewire your brain for wealth. Thank you for joining us, Barbara.
Thank you.